Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for joining me this week. So this week I'm going to be talking about something really controversial. I have seen so many institutions and schools adopt the traffic light system or the tiered leveling of AI use. And I want to show you some research and really debunk the use of this, the myth that this is actually really useful for schools and students. So if you're interested in hearing about what my opinion is about why traffic light systems and leveling of AI use doesn't work, then please keep on watching. I just wanted to share a little snippet of the pre-conference one-day workshop that I led for the IB conference in Mumbai. I've just gotten back and I wanted to debunk some of the myths that are out there about AI use. But I started off with this particular statistic. More than 58% of students admitted to using AI dishonestly. And I've delivered some wonderful IB webinars with Dr. Thailand. And we've talked about how we want to really promote academic honesty and integrity, and students will only be dishonest if they're either under pressure, expectations are not clear, or if they do not conceptually understand the work. So I thought it was really important that, we look at the statistic and talk about some of the reasons why students may be academically dishonest when it comes to AI use. Some schools that I work with that have clear guidelines and don't use the traffic light system and build a culture of trust actually don't have this problem. They don't have academic integrity or honesty problems because there is there's a culture of open communication, and we're trying to encourage and develop skills in students to be academically honest. So back to the main topic of the video is, why do traffic light systems not work with AI use, or tiered or leveled systems not work? Okay, so I'm going to give you 5 reasons why these tiered systems or traffic light systems fail. And I actually think that the traffic light system is doing a lot of damage out there. So first of all, if you permit any AI use, it actually effectively permits all AI use, right? You can't level and say, well, you can use it sometimes for this and sometimes for that. So once AI is allowed for brainstorming, there's no reliable way to prevent this use in later stages. So the AI assessment scale authors acknowledged this from the outset. And I think the people that came up with the assessment scale and the traffic lights have actually said this has been misused by lots of educators, and it was actually supposed to be used as a starting point for a conversation, not be a rigid list of when you can use AI and when you cannot use AI. Okay, number 2, students experience confusion and inconsistency. Real world evidence show that students find the yellow zone in the traffic light, right, ambiguous, and report inconsistent teacher enforcement, eroding trust across the school community. That amber zone or that yellow zone is so ambiguous. How can you measure AI use when using any AI tool? You can't measure it, right? You can, and I'll offer some solutions at the end of this video of what we can do instead of this system. Okay, so AI detection tools do not work. So if you do actually want to use a traffic light system or a tiered system, you'd have to then use an AI detection tool to then find out, well, how much AI use is being used. And we know that AI detection tools come up with a lot of false positives. So you're actually accusing students of being guilty when they're innocent. And that is the opposite to our legal system. Aren't we supposed to assume innocence before, someone is guilty and doing something wrong? And imagine the anxiety that a poor student goes through when a report is flagged. An AI detection tool flags up a student's piece of work as plagiarized, and the student is completely innocent. Imagine all of that anxiousness and turmoil that poor student has to go through. Study after study shows that AI detectors are unreliable and that humans cannot reliably identify AI generated text. So I think that the best AI detectors, to be honest, are teachers, right? Even though humans cannot reliably identify AI text, I think teachers who know their students, who have built relationships, and you've spent, a period of time on with them working on different tasks and really celebrating the journey of learning, I think teachers are the best AI detectors. Okay, it positions teachers as police and not educators. Is our role as teachers, about policing students, trying to catch students out or trying to catch them cheating, I mean. So rather than acting as police, why don't we try and really empower our students and develop AI integrity and academic honesty? So Professor Danny Liu, I'm a big fan of his work from University of Sydney. Our role as educators is to teach, not police. We are in the business of detecting learning, not detecting cheating. I thought that was a really profound statement. We're detecting learning. Let's look at evidence of learning and not evidence of cheating and academic dishonesty. And then this is a really important point, my final point. Misconduct is a human problem, not a technological one. So Dr. Sarah Eaton says, in an academic integrity arms race, the only winners are the corporations selling empty promises about wiping out misconduct. Exactly. So let's not, really focus on cheating, misconduct, catching students out, and using detection tools, but really focus more on teaching students important values of integrity, academic integrity. Now, instead of using these kind of tiered use tables, I would actually suggest like a menu. And then in lessons, you would have different learning experiences, activities that would use AI in different ways. So, for example, let's say I'm going to start a topic. It could be any subject area, but I want to know what students know. So maybe we would brainstorm and create a mind map, and we wouldn't use AI tools. So we'd actually want students to think. And then maybe we'd use some AI tools to supplement and create a mind map out of all of the ideas that we had. And then we may also ask AI, could you add anything to the mind map that we actually already created and brainstormed without AI? So I think it's really important that we design learning experiences in the classroom with and without AI, but using AI to empower students and to support the learning process. Now, when students are at home, you cannot control how students are using it. So we still need to focus on teaching students about academic integrity and honesty. So we want to focus on integrity taught as a skill, and it's not an enforced rule. And basically, I want to finish off saying that students want to act ethically. Research with graduate students found that they genuinely wanted to use Gen AI ethically and uphold integrity, but also wanted agency in how they interacted with AI skills. Let's have a look at some other ideas. Rules without culture fail. We need to actually cultivate a culture of trust and integrity. Other research says the solution is not solely technological, but cultural. Building a strong ethos of academic integrity and ensuring students understand the value of genuine learning are equally crucial. So we want to ensure that students want to learn for the sake of learning. They have intrinsic motivation for learning rather than extrinsic motivation for learning. And then the last point that I want to say is about the question being shifted. The question is shifted. The post-plagiarism era requires moving from who wrote this to how was this created? What was the learning process and journey? And does it matter? This demands explicit teaching, not rule enforcement. Okay, so there are my ideas about not using traffic light system, not using tiered systems as well. And if you're interested to read more, I would really highly recommend Professor Danny Liu's work at the University of Sydney. They've created a menu of different tasks and learning experiences where you can choose how to use AI in the menu option, which I much prefer. And I'm hoping that schools are beginning to realize once they've enforced the traffic light system, it doesn't work. So I found that lots of schools started using them and then found this doesn't work and then dropped the idea. So thank you so much for joining me this week. I hope you got some ideas about, AI use and teaching students about academic integrity in the AI infused world. And I hope to see you next time.